We're doing this?
I guess so. Slamming coffee. I should just wear a beer bong with coffee in it. If it wasn't so hot.
You could do cold brew.
Good point. I like hot, Jason. What's up, Bob?
I actually discovered the cold coffee. Did I ever tell you that? I used to always be like, why would anyone drink cold coffee? That's so dumb. And I went to Panera and I ordered like a cafe mocha type thing, and they gave me the frozen one. And I was like, no, I don't want this. It's like, I wanted the hot one. I'm like, what do I want? A milkshake, And they're like, well, you can just have it or whatever. And I was like, just stand there holding it.
You sucked it all down.
Oh my God. They're like, here, we can throw that away. I'm like, I'll just drink it. It's fine. And then I was like, every day, I need one of these every day, maybe 2. Then after like 2 weeks, someone was like, dude, those have like 100 grams of sugar in them, right? And I was like, is that bad? Or it tastes like a rainbow.
Well, you got me stuck on that stupid caramel macchiatos.
Yeah.
I was so pissed about that when I found out like how bad they were.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to ignore it for a couple months.
Yeah, those were good.
Oh, stick around. You'll find some.
We'll get there, bub. We just started. Morning, y'all.
I got those saved for the end.
Yeah.
I should put them at the beginning because that's when people are actually here.
Once we kind of go off the rails, about 3/4 the way into it. Yeah. I do have a doozy story for you today. We're going to talk some relationships. So,
I almost put, I don't know why I still share it to Facebook. I'm not even on Facebook. I doubt very many people even come over from it, but I just do it anyway. And I was putting the title, and I was like, we'll be talking about music, our Pearl Jam, eBay, and solving world hunger. I was like,
or you didn't?
I almost did. I was like, yeah, no one's reading this anyway, so I just erased it.
I was thinking about that this morning because no one has really said anything to me about like just come up to me and been like, what the hell are you doing on Saturday mornings? Like, what is that? And I'm like, I know they probably see it on Facebook, so they probably just see it. I don't know what that is.
Not really. That's why I share it to my.
Are you sure? Because I made one comment on my dad's post about the 3 things in life that you need or whatever, and like somebody texted me like an hour later, "Hey man, I saw that," and it was Jeff actually. So he saw that. So there's got to be people seeing the other stuff.
Well, it's just because it's a link from YouTube. Facebook's not going to promote you leaving their site.
Yeah, good point.
So they don't really push out. That's why I shared on my memories or whatever. I don't even know what it is. The story? Yeah, the story. I shared on the story. That way people can't help but have to see it. But I don't know. I don't think anybody actually comes from it. They just think we're if you're doing eBay, you're just trying to steal money from people.
You're selling backpacks to little kids for like $40 and you bought them at Goodwill for like $2.
50. All right. It's a good backpack, Jason.
Yeah.
It was Under Armour.
It's name brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Tracy, good morning. We're going to be talking relationships today. I got a doozy.
I won't be.
It's not me personally. It's just the juicy Reddit post I found.
That's funny.
It's not juicy. It's just super. Yeah, it's something else.
Yeah, that's truth. Like the only people that like actually like my posts about Facebook, they don't even they don't watch the YouTube. They just like it.
Are we just going to talk about how sad your Facebook feed is all morning? Because I'm already bored. I don't even like your Facebook. So
yeah, I'm not even on there.
I'm going to go back and unlike the last thing I liked because I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, unfriend me. Thank you.
Well, I have notifications turned off, but I wouldn't unfriend you. That's too low.
And the lies.
Oh, I'm not asking Tracy for relationship advice. I'm giving it. Yeah.
I don't like a life coach.
Yeah.
How to screw up America's kids.
Yeah, I'm probably going to start my own podcast. You guys can follow me for relationship advice. Like that. Did you ever do counseling? Nope, don't need it.
It's funny. I was actually looking at it was like the top 10 worst actors to work with, the other actors hate working with. And it was pretty much the ones you kind of thought of, like Chevy Chase. Everybody, no one, I don't know if anybody's ever liked him. They named a bunch of people, but one of them was Mike Myers.
Really?
Yeah.
The kind of guy that would be like super nice and just like funny. And
that's what I thought too. But it was funny because the reason why I believed this was because it was the producer from So I Married an Axe Murderer. And like, God, we couldn't even get him to come out of his trailer. It was like, it took forever. He was acting like a diva.
That's funny, but if you remember at that time, that was like he was the thing back at that point. He could do anything, just acting stupid, and everybody loved it. Like that show was the epitome of that, of him doing that. Actually, he was doing all his. He almost had a thing like what's the Ace Ventura guy? I can't think of his name.
Carrey.
Jim Carrey. He was just so ridiculous, but we like loved it, you know. And if you watch it now, you're almost like, what are you doing? Like that's not. Yeah. It's almost like it doesn't age well. It doesn't.
It's like Adam Sandler. It's like they know they're the most popular, so put out as many movies as you can while you can before you get old and no one likes you anymore, and then you throw out some real trash. And
then you do this weird thing, you know, like Ace Ventura did or something, and people laugh at it. So then you just take it to the next level, and people still laugh. And there's a point where it's like,
you can't go any further. Yeah. Bumblebee tuna. Your balls are showing. That's probably the only thing that's good about it.
One of the funniest things ever, though, I think, was Ace Ventura 2 when he was like trapped in that electronic rhino, and he was like,
"Mommy!"
He was climbing out its butthole, and he was naked. That was pretty funny.
When the dad like turns the head so she can't see it.
Oh my God! Maybe
that's a good idea.
Tell a story, Jason, and Anthony can embellish it. Isn't it funny? That reminds me, when you're like telling a story in a group and somebody's literally embellishing your own story while you're telling it, you almost want to stop them and go, there wasn't 10 cops there. It was like one. And you're like, dude, that was insane.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like eating it up, and you kind of like.
That reminds me of YouTube. I got a next bolo for you. It's the best bolo ever. You have to watch my channel.
Yeah. I'm trying to. There's a couple people I'm thinking of in my mind. I'm not going to say it because they could watch someday, but there's a couple people I'm thinking of from back in the day that would do that when you're telling a story, and they would like embellish it and just take over the story, and you're like,
yeah,
not what happened.
You tell everybody later, like, I don't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, there was only one goat, and I wasn't that into it.
Hey, goat.
But I did get into the fraternity, so.
So is Tracy and Tommy ever going to go live again, or?
I don't know.
I guess they need a vacation too. I think I haven't seen them. It's been like
Didn't Tracy say she was moving, didn't have a studio set up or something?
Yeah, she had a studio set up a couple weeks ago. I saw it.
So they're quitters, huh?
Basically,
quitters quit.
They probably need like content or something.
That's why they're here.
Oh yeah. What? I didn't write any lies down. I guess I can make some up.
Yeah, they'll come to you.
I was in this group back in the day. I don't know if you've heard it. It's called Sublime. I was the tambourinist.
Tambourinist.
Have you ever seen the Sublime where Stephanie, or what's her name? Oh, No Doubt. What's her name?
Gwen Stefani?
Yeah. When she sings with Sublime, man, it is freaking awesome. That was cool. She should have done more stuff like that where she's almost rapping. It sounded way better than her own music. Yeah. This is the first week I haven't put out a video in I don't know how long, just because with eBay's been so busy for me, and then with mowing starting, it's almost impossible. But I think it's gotten that point where eBay's taken over. I don't know. I either need to, I don't know. eBay just takes so much time to put up listings to keep it active. I don't know. It's getting to be a problem. I guess that's why most good eBay sellers don't really do YouTube because it's too hard to do both.
Morning, Glenn. Speaking of that, the royalties, I was watching you know what I forgot about? I was watching a deal last night, like a mashup of interviews from Seinfeld cast, and they were talking about how they, at one point, they all demanded like a certain amount, $1 million a show, or they weren't going to do it anymore. And NBC gave it to them. And I can't think of the guys, Jason, whatever, George was on the interview, and he was saying that he said, I feel like they shouldn't have even given it to us. We asked for too much, and I feel like when we did, it like ruined like TV, like it just went, because then everybody else expected to get the same amount. And he goes, I think we kind of messed that up for everybody. But he said that the issue was they weren't giving them any royalties going forward. And they knew that the show was going to be in reruns basically like forever. And they knew that they were so typecast, they wouldn't be able to do any other shows the way that show was going.
True.
Which kind of was interesting. He was actually really cool about it. He was like, you know, we asked for it because we knew we probably wouldn't be able to work much after that because we were so typecast, but we knew it was a lot.
Yep.
He said my bottom number was like 600,000, and he said we asked for $1 million, and they asked for it in like the fall, and then they went through the whole show, and NBC never said anything to him. They wouldn't even talk to him about it, and like all the people on the show were like, "Dude, what's going on? Are we getting canceled?" And they're like, "We don't know." And then they came back and just agreed to it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because they said they were getting like 14 or 16 million dollars in like ad revenue per show.
Wow.
So,
well, it's funny you said that because it's exactly how baseball and football end up going.
mm-hmm.
One guy gets a big contract. One team does something stupid and signs someone for way more than they should. Well, then after that, everybody gets that number at a wide receiver. It moves the line. And then and whenever Pujols got a bunch of money back in the day, then all these other guys behind him got the same amount of money or more. And it ruined baseball for a while because all those guys that got paid after him and him never performed to their contracts.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of ruined big contracts for baseball players in a way. So now they only give big contracts to young kids. So yeah, I could see how that could screw up going down the line. That's probably why they went to reality TV shows right after that. Then you don't have to pay them crap, get rid of them, bring in some new reality guy.
That's a good point. That was probably a smart move. It's almost like it went to a user-based content versus paying these big stars to do the acting. Yep. Just bring in the weirdos that can act crazy. And
it seems weird.
Everything though, like even now, it's like I went to the store the other day and eggs were like $5 a carton, and I was like, "What is going on?" And after all this craziness is over, it won't go back to where it was, and everyone will think that it's normal.
Yep. That's why like inflation sucks if you're poor. If you're rich, inflation just means all your shit just went up.
Yeah.
I supply Santeria. I didn't even know what Santeria was until I listened to Joey Diaz one day. Do you know what Santeria is?
I don't think so. I was just looking at it to see.
It's like a voodoo witchcraft Catholic mixed religion.
And what is the deal with this? Why are we?
Santeria, Sublime. I don't pronounce Santeria.
But I don't understand what it is. Like you're getting.
It's like a religion. It's like Christianity, but it's like a mix of voodoo, like witchcraft, and Catholic religion, all like mixed in one in a weird way.
Sublime is a religion. I don't understand where you're going.
No, Santeria. It's part of one of their songs.
Okay.
It's actually the name of one of their songs, if I remember right.
Oh, okay.
He's got it's up on the screen. That's why I said it.
Well, I can read that. I just didn't understand.
No, you can't. You can't read.
Barely.
eBay turning into a job, yes, but it's fun. I don't mind. I don't mind. Exactly. Ryan Howard. He got 5 years, 125 million to strike out 190 times a year.
Sounds like the weather guy. Making a ton of money, and I'm always wrong.
Exactly.
How do you know what the weather's going to do in 2 weeks? It's going to be 47 degrees and partly cloudy. in 2 weeks. Yeah.
At 10 a.m. Yes.
Look at the 15-day forecast. I put it on there. How do you know what the temperature is going to be in 15 days?
I don't even know why we do it.
Just say in the 40s, it's springtime. We don't know.
I don't even know why we do a 10-day forecast. It's always wrong. I mean,
there's a 15-day forecast now on all the apps. Like,
I have to pay attention to it for mowing, and it's always a day off. It's always.
It always changes, but like, what's the point? There's no way they know. Like, oh, sweet, I'm going on vacation in 2 weeks, and it's going to be 68 where I'm going. Is it like? No.
Yeah. There's been a lot of sports players that was the deal. They literally, it would enact their contract. If someone else got paid more than them, it would make them leapfrog whoever got paid. So they would make more money every time someone else got paid more money. That was in people's contracts. So you're saying that Seinfeld people, they don't get any money from the royalties, from the replays?
I don't know. This was an old interview, and it was in like, at the time, I don't know, it may have changed now, but he was saying that the plan was for them, they weren't set up for royalties. Wow. And that's why they asked for all that money, because they basically did a model and figured up like what they could make over the course of their life from royalties. And NBC, because they asked for royalties first, NBC just said no, because they said, well, this show is going to go on forever in like reruns, and we wanted royalties going forward, and NBC said no. So that's when they came back and asked for that super high amount, because they knew that it would stop at some point and they wouldn't be getting paid from it anymore. Which is, I thought all actors got like a little bit of some royalty from shows like that in reruns.
You think? It's like when they show those hurricane models and they give you like 20 different models of what it's going to do. And it's like one's going to Texas, the other one's going out toward Cuba. You're like, I mean, it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
And then it does not what any of the 20 actually even projected them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I heard a weather guy say recently too that the reason why the weather's been so bad recently is they weren't letting people go up in airplanes to map the storms in the Gulf during COVID. And so that's why the weather was even worse on predicting the last couple of years.
Weather. Have you heard of COVID? The weather guy doesn't go to work anymore.
Even the weather guys blaming COVID. Like, are you serious?
We're not doing weather anymore. Just look outside and kind of figure it out.
So all your phone calls go to India because of COVID. Yep. They can't speak English. Yep. Larry David, man, he was freaking genius.
They interviewed him too on the thing I watched last night. That dude is crazy. He is George.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that Kramer was based after a real person. And I didn't know that real person actually ran tours in New York about himself.
Yeah. Morning, Jen. Morning, Kyle. Did you know too that in the first episode, when I think I've actually said this probably 5 times on here, but since it's what we're talking about, in the first episode when Jerry meets Kramer, he actually calls him by the guy's actual name accidentally. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're," and I can't think of the name. He goes, "No, yeah, something like that." And he goes, "No, I'm Kramer." And he goes, "Oh, okay." But he guessed his name was the actual guy. Right. And the real guy was actually super pissed because he wanted to play Kramer in the show.
Because he was Larry David's roommate, like neighbor. I mean, it was actually a lot like his own life. That's what I thought was funny. What's up, Kyle? Glenn, what up, brother? Paul, everybody's slipping in here. Bobby Witt jersey, yeah. Well, he's good, that's for sure. Hey,
did I see a video of Elaine from Seinfeld going to that pawn shop?
Oh, yeah, that is funny.
And it's got what's it, Bryan Cranston and the 2 guys from Breaking Bad, where the guys working in there. Yep. So funny.
That is a great, and that's funny too because I don't watch Veep or any of the new stuff, and so it's like,
what is Veep?
It's based after. It's kind of like like VP, I think is what it's standing for. And it's like, what was that one show that was on forever that was about the White House? I never watched
House
it.
of Cards.
Yeah, and this is like the new version, except it's like dirtier and more risky and edgy.
And Elaine's in it. What does she do?
I think she's the VP. I may be mistaken, but it's just weird to think that like all these new kids think of her as that, and not they don't know Elaine, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I could. The other did I send you the video last night? I didn't realize she was on Saturday Night Live too.
Yeah,
she was like so young.
Yeah,
she's playing like a high school kid.
I believe that. The smartest thing they ever did was when they cut out the intro of Jerry doing his little
monologues.
Mm-hmm. Those just usually weren't very good. They weren't that funny. And it was like, can you use better ones? Or is this his best? Ugh.
Kessler, there it is. It's Kramer's name on his mailbox initially.
That's funny. Yeah, Kressler. Yeah.
Kessler. Good times.
West Wing. Yeah, that's what it was. You know, well, I watch TV. I don't know shit. There's a lot of people. Thanks for coming in. And Dave, Midwest.
Good morning, everybody.
Kessler was crazy. Yeah.
All right. You ready for this?
Yes.
This article I found. All right.
Absolutely.
So, relationship situation. I've got my tab open.
This is good.
I'm gonna read this to you. I'm gonna be looking through you because I'm reading it, but I can see your face, so I'm not making fun of this person. It's just I read it and I was like, what in the actual frick? So it's in a forum on Reddit. It's in a divorce forum. It says, anyone else deal with a spouse with hygiene issues? Mine has major health issues that he refuses to seek treatment for. He constantly defecates the bed in his sleep due to it. He would leave fecal matter smeared on the floor and the toilet seat. He refuses to brush his teeth, usually showers once every week or two. He doesn't wash his hands. At one point, he had a daily shower habit, and I couldn't figure out why he still reeked. And he told me he was just standing in there for about 45 minutes until the hot water ran out and not actually washing anything. I finally stood up for myself and said I wouldn't have sex with him unless he took care of his hygiene. Then we ended up in a dead bedroom situation for years. He tried to threaten to cheat on me for making him feel bad about himself because I didn't want to have sex with him. Good luck doing that, buddy. Last year, he told me he thinks I'm asexual because I don't like or desire sex. I desire it very much, just with someone who cares enough about me to bathe. My hygiene is not perfect, and I understand that people struggle with it, but it's too much for me, and I felt so alone because I couldn't talk with anyone about it, and he gets so angry no matter how gently I told him it was affecting our relationship.
You smell like a men's locker room, please.
Oh my God. Can you imagine someone that hadn't showered in 2 weeks, like a dude?
Week or two?
And he's like pooping in the bed and it's not showering. Like, that's an issue.
Standing in the shower for 45 minutes and not like who has time to waste not actually doing anything either?
Like, our water bill is so high and you still smell so bad.
I just was hoping you'd have sex with me. All you had to do was put soap on. I don't want to do that.
It's too much work.
That's movement. That's funny.
It's not like a 5-year-old kid would do. I didn't have brushed. You find that they're just running water on the toothbrush, because they're so lazy they don't want to brush their teeth.
Yeah. What? Dwayne Haskins died. Whoa, he's like 23 years old. Yes.
What's up, Harry? He says Harry doesn't shower for 2 weeks when he's at deer camp.
Dave Matthews. What up, Harry? I thought so too. Because it's all truthful. There can't be lying. I don't see Harry as a deer hunter, do you?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Wow, he was hit by a car this morning. Wow.
Why are you still with a grown-ass man who can't be bothered to wipe his own ass properly?
Now, why would you stay with someone that's even, I mean, the first time he poops on the bed, like, that's it. Done. You can't control.
Well, I don't think that would initially be a reason to divorce someone immediately. I mean, everybody has accidents, but if they just don't care and wouldn't even shower or clean it up, I'd be like, there's literally poop everywhere. Like, what are you, a puppy?
I guess I can't smell anymore, so I'm gonna have to like follow my girlfriend around and make sure she's showering, right?
Like, what is this, chocolate? No, it's actually poop. Oh,
God. I still catch myself smelling something. I can't smell.
Oh, that is poop. You just take it. Don't eat that.
I wouldn't even be able to taste it anyway.
You're not going to make a good tracker if the zombie apocalypse happens.
That's true.
Can't taste anything. Can't smell.
Yeah.
Someone could be gassing us with some kind of whatever, and you wouldn't even know it's coming.
I'd eat it. Antifreeze.
I'm so thirsty. This is kind of sweet tasting.
It's so sweet.
Actually, antifreeze.
All the pretty colors in it. Ooh.
Looks like what's that? Take a fake shower, pretend shower.
I wish I need to use my speech to text because I can't text anymore. I feel like I've gone backwards in texting ability.
Yeah, you always send voice memos, and then I go to open it, and it accidentally opens, and then I can't listen to it right then because I'm at work or in the middle of something, and then I forget about it, and I'm like, I'm trying to go back, and then I have to listen to like 12 of them.
Who would do something stupid like that?
So annoying.
Not me. That's why I love voice. I hate text messaging. That's why I love voice message.
Yeah,
I use
the speech to text a lot.
And I hate phone calls other than like you, because otherwise it's just like hanging out on the phone, not doing anything, and kind of chit-chatting, but not really chit-chatting. I just like to get it done and over with like a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
This is the statement. Now I'm done.
One of my other buddies that I talk to a lot, that's from works at FedEx. I'll call dispatch, and I'll just be like, "That's where I'm at. That's what I got. What's next?" And he's like, "You're so rude." And I'm like, "What?" I call him like 20 times a day. I don't need to say, "Hey, how's it going, bud?"
Hi. Speaking. How are you today? I'm just wondering, how's your life going right now?
Well, tell me about your afternoon.
What's your weekend looking like? That's funny, yeah.
I have seen some of the titles. I saw a couple the other day, and you could tell someone clearly, like, their title had words in it that
I had one the other day. It said it was supposed to be happy, and it said Harry instead. I'd put Harry. I'm like, how's this ever? No wonder it's never sold.
I wonder why this Harry Tomato thing I have on the eBay is not selling.
He always makes a presence in our chat somehow. All lowercase, yeah, it makes sense. So, how's the shoe selling business? It's been crazy. I've been selling 845s a day. It's hard to keep up with the packing materials.
So you got about $80 a day coming in around there.
At least, yeah.
60 to 80 coming in a day just on records.
Just records. because I'm selling a lot of sports cards right now because
Mhm.
baseball's starting up.
And so that's probably taking up quite a bit of your time just getting all that stuff shipped out, isn't it?
Yep. Like that's why I'm pulling constantly. Anytime something sells, I go pull it right away, pretty much. And
Mhm.
then I'm instead of I used to get all my stuff in the morning and then ship it out, but now I'm gonna start doing it at night, getting it done so I can just get up and go the mornings. So it's definitely changed. It's gonna be hard to do both. I didn't
Mhm.
pick up any extra business this year for that reason. So
Mhm.
it's worked out perfect.
Hmm. I guess it's a good problem to have, having to
Yeah.
rework your kind of your routine because you got so much going on.
And I've just gotten better and better at like buying 45s. The more I sell, the more I know what actually really sells. So then I
Hmm.
can pinpoint down my buying even better.
I don't know much about guns, so I wouldn't know. So did you find a Reddit post as well to read, or
No,
uh,
I found an eBay post, but it was the typical freaking eBay post. I hate everybody that does eBay. They're all evil people trying to steal money. It's making it makes everything go up, causes inflation.
mhm.
I hope they never sell it. It was basically just a bunch of people mad, and then they go to Walmart and give Walmart money for marking up stuff, but not a reseller. You know,
Mhm.
I love Amazon, but I hate the guy that's trying to make some money on the side. So I didn't. It was too. It was too exactly what you expect to hear.
Mhm. I got a good one to read. This is just a little snippet. It says, "When you're a success, people remind you that you didn't get there on your own, and when a failure, people tell you it's your own fault. Society wants to share in your success, but
Yep,
not in the failures." I thought that
that's a
was good.
fact. That's why, and you know that when you live in a small town.
Yeah. We compensate for poor eyesight by strapping melted sand to our heads. We all have this. I like this one. We all have simulations of everyone we know inside our heads.
What they look like or what they do, how they
Yeah,
move.
just like you have like a thing in your head when you think of a person. There's like a simulation of them that lives kind of in your thought process.
Yep. Um, remember I told you that too. That the other day that one of the most um, mined materials in the world, I had no idea, was beach sand.
Beach sand.
We
That's
use beach sand for so many things in technology,
yeah.
and people go and basically go steal it from beaches and use it for their products. And other countries do it way worse than we do. It's not just us. And so they're saying that that's one of the most mined things. And beach is better than if you use regular sand from a desert. It's too fine and it's too smooth, so it doesn't work the same as. So they have to use beach sand.
Hmm.
I thought that was interesting. I never heard of that one before.
It's weird. So they can't use like the desert sand is too grainy.
It's too small and it's too slick.
Hmm.
It needs to have more coarseness, and that's why they use the beach sand. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly what they use it for. I know, of course, glass, but there was a bunch of stuff in the new technologies for smartphones and stuff like that we use sand more and more.
I'm watching a that's like a documentary thing about supply chain. Holy moly, that's interesting. It talks about all the container ships coming over from uh, like Vietnam and China and all that,
Right.
bringing all the crap over that we buy. That is insane. Like I always knew it was crazy, like the numbers and just what came across, but watching it is so much more. I'm watching this thing. So they can put 10,000 containers on some of those ships. Can you imagine? That's like 10,000 semis. Each one of those containers is basically a semi trailer.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, it's not on a chassis of wheels. It's just the box that goes on top.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's like, well, it's like Richard lived, he works.
Yeah. He did the cranes.
He used to do the cranes that pull them off the ships in New Zealand. And I mean, if New Zealand's pumping through the stuff, I can't imagine how much we're pumping through. Holy crap.
They said they come into Long Beach and they said it takes 3 to 5 days to unload one, but right now it's taking up to 2 weeks because they're so full and they're so short staffed and they're just all the issues going on right now. And then they were showing the people like living on the boats, like, or the ships. And they were talking about how they had to they were showing the weather. And it was like the ships are so big and they were just going up and crashing and the waves just coming in. It's nuts. And they were talking about you got to watch out for pirates and all this stuff. And I was thinking that'd make a great reality show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
Deadliest Catch.
Yes. Except they're the ones that might get caught.
Yeah. They actually have more interesting things on board besides crabs.
That's one of those shows you watch that one season and then you watch the next one. You're like, okay, I'm good.
I know the first season I was like freaking out. Oh my God.
This is so cool and dangerous and interesting. And then it's the same thing. You're like, yeah.
They did a good job of really hyping it up too and making it seem like it was more like
more deadly.
Yeah, which really I'm sure it was, but there's also, I think some of those guys that were that deadly, they were probably pushing the limits, they're out in stuff they didn't have to be out in just for. Yeah.
Didn't someone die and they're like, ooh, we can use this for marketing. It is so deadly.
I had a guy I worked with at one of the guys I used to drive with, and he was in the Coast Guard and he was stationed in Kodiak. And he said that they had to go out and rescue people. And he was saying that he actually was in the water one time and they were pulling a body out.
Whoa, Bo. He loves that dog. Now, what are you saying?
He was actually in the water and he was helping like get this body out of the water. And it was like they have those cages they would lower into the water. And he said as they lifted it out of the water, the guy's, all of his like fluids and skin came off on top of him. And he was like under the cage.
I didn't want to hear that.
They would let him back on the boat. He was like in this little thing. They said they pulled him back and he was like naked walking into the terminal thing where he worked. He's like, it's one of the most rancid smells I've ever smelled. Yeah.
It's a good story. Thanks.
He also had nightmares. He was stationed in, I think, somewhere in like Manhattan for a while too, for the Coast Guard, or somewhere on the East Coast. He said some lady jumped off a bridge and she bounced off the water. And then she lived and she walked up on the beach and ended up dying. So they had to go, there's people that like bridge jumpers in those big cities, they have to go rescue. He had a ton of crazy stories.
That's nuts.
Yeah. I don't know how I got to that, but
I don't either.
There you have it.
I'm actually thinking about going to the bathroom and puking right now, but hey.
I'm thinking about joining the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Age limit.
You signed up for it.
People say I look 39.
So I got that going for me.
You can't be over 35. I've heard people say I might be 35. But are you? What do you think? You have to fill out this form. It actually matters. But what do you think I am?
Isn't it funny? Like, why do we care if someone thinks we're younger? Like, it's like, hooray. Like, we're going to live longer or something because someone thinks we look younger. Awesome.
Acknowledgement that you look younger than you are.
What's it matter? Like,
because I feel because it's a marker of where you're at, because you don't ever really know, because you only see yourself and what you think of yourself, but then you have an acknowledgement of what someone else thinks of you. Not that it matters. I'm just saying.
Right. I'm just trying to think of like why, like, anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Because like you said, you don't even know how old you are because you weren't there when you were born. You could be 70 years old for all you know.
I eat a lot of broccoli.
Isn't it weird too? Some of the older guys, they don't even actually know how old they are. There's that one guy that's like 112 from India, and he's like, we didn't keep track of it back then.
Yeah. I just know I'm pretty old.
Good Lord.
You should go to the doctor. And what's your age, sir? We don't really know.
What does it matter? I guess it really doesn't. I just wanted to know.
What do you want it to be? I was looking up William Shatner. It said he's 91. Is that correct?
I believe that.
He was born in the 30s, like 1931 or something.
Well, I mean, he was like in his prime in the 60s doing Star Trek.
Yeah, but it's just amazing because honestly, he looks kind of chunky. You wouldn't think somebody that's a little overweight would be in their 90s. Maybe, I don't know.
He only got overweight in the last 10, 15 years, though.
Still, you'd think at something like that would have took him out. I don't know. I'm impressed. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad he's alive. I don't want him to die. I'm just
sure.
Dang it! I shouldn't have picked that in my Deadpool game.
It's like when some people say, it's like when some people say you shouldn't be so old to be a president. You know, they're way too old. My grandma was like, she's 87 now. She's smart as a tack still. Like some people can do it, not everybody. It's not the age; it's the person.
Most people can't, so it's probably still a good idea to.
I would rather have younger, believe me. But I'm just saying, it's not the age; it's the person. It's the person you're talking about, not the age.
Maybe your grandma should run for president.
She should. She would kick
ass. It's going to be an open spot. There's going to be a job opening coming up.
So what would be the first thing you would do if you became president?
Just tell a bunch of lies and just probably get a bunch of hookers and
makes sense.
A bunch of drugs. I don't know. Pretty much the usual.
Yeah.
Play golf all the time. I don't know.
Sense.
I don't really feel like presidents really do anything except
they really don't.
They don't really do anything.
They can do executive orders.
Yeah.
Everybody's always like, the president's so powerful. I'm like,
they really can't.
Not really. They can declare war, but they can't go until Congress tells them he can.
Like, I might drop a bomb on a country just so I could be remembered by something cool. Like pick a country we all don't like and just nuke it.
The Contras are gone. It was a good run. Reagan didn't like him. I don't like him. All right.
Throwing like Dr. Evil throwing a dart at a map. You're gone.
Laser beams on sharks.
Drones are hot. No, I don't know. You kind of caught me off guard with that one. I don't know what I would do.
President's control. Yeah. Has nothing to do with supply and demand.
Thanks a lot, Biden. Gas prices are so high.
I like it. They do have very small. Like he's releasing a bunch of oil right now that's making it go down, but it's very little what they can do.
I feel like
like people are like, well, Trump was in office, gas was so low. Like, well, it was because no one was driving. It had to go low because there was no demand for it.
There's so many reasons why that happens. It isn't just like Trump sitting there flipping a switch and it's like it's going down. He pulled the lever back, so the price went down. Cool. When I hear people say that makes me decide how much like time I'm going to give them in conversation or what I kind of might like how smart I kind of realize that when they make a comment about how like a president did this thing, I'm like, that's not how it works. And you obviously have no idea how life works. So
yeah.
And I'm not
talking about politics and they're sticking to one side. I just walk away. I'm
not defending anybody because I think they're all pretty corrupt and like it's just a big.
They're just actors for the government.
Rich guys. It's just so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. I shouldn't.
I don't either. How do we get on politics? It wasn't really politics, more like just making fun of it.
I just asked what you would do if you're president.
Right. Yeah.
I would make music and instruments a big deal in schools. That's about the only thing I would do if I could do anything, because it should be a bigger deal.
Yeah, I totally agree, Tommy. It's amazing how many people actually think that too. They're so like
Tribal.
like I'm a delivery driver and I go out into small towns and you go out and there's people that have giant billboards that say like Trump should have been president. There's one I drive by every day and it's a huge sign. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it says, don't blame me. I voted for Trump. And it has a huge man pointing at the sign. He's got a red hat on. Like,
yeah, I always think it's funny because, like, the Democrats were like, "Get over it, you lost," and all this stuff. But whenever Trump won, they were like, "This is bullshit. You had to have cheated." They did the same thing. It's like they both do the same thing to each other, and everybody always forgets that if you like that one side, you always forget that they've done that same thing. It's just so weird.
It's like blaming them for like some specific thing that a restaurant's doing due to COVID. It's like it's not. They don't do everything. I mean, they're just like the spearhead, like the poster child. They're almost just like the speaker of everything else. You know, they're just the one you see on TV.
They're just taking the brunt. They don't. That's why they all get gray hair.
I would shut down the IRS, make a consumption tax, and be killed by CIA in 1 month. That's funny. That's a good point. I probably would do something. If I actually was in control of something like that, I think I would change the tax system and I would make it some kind of a, what do they call it, like a flat tax, and just be done with it.
I can't disagree. I mean,
Donald Trump probably would have me whacked because it would definitely affect the real estate and all that stuff.
Well, I think that's the one thing people don't recognize is our economy is basically built on oil and house buying.
Yeah.
And no one really thinks about it. And it's super, super messed up.
It's crazy that a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to that podcast and they were talking about how, when you take out a loan, you basically create that amount of money because it didn't exist until you created it. And you basically create it by signing for it. Whether you're buying a rental property or your own home, you're basically saying, here's this money and I'm going to pay it back. And I'm going to come up with it somehow. But what didn't really exist before that? Because the bank doesn't just pass out that money. It's like it's almost created.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why we can get in all the problems we do get in, because it's not backed by anything.
Yeah, and that's why the real estate
on your word
have those tax incentives, because the government wants you to do that. They want you to go buy a huge house and take out a loan, and it will be they want you to buy that house for more than it was sold for 5 years ago, which that creates that amount of money.
It's striking to me, and I've never really I don't know why or what the reason is, but when you go to other countries, I've been to Germany, Netherlands, Italy, all of them are the same thing. If there is a house, there is no land.
Right.
You have a house with, you barely even get a yard. It's so small. Like in here, that's like the first thing you notice. You get here, there's like this big front yard, a big backyard, side yards, and we're lucky that we can actually buy that stuff still because our government lets us, and we can still afford it because you don't do that in other countries.
Once again, I feel like the suburban house is one of the biggest frauds and scams ever, because you get this big house, you have a big yard, then you buy all these supplies to manage your yard or pay a guy like you to come mow the yard.
You hire all these contractors out.
But they're like urban grass farmers, because the yard has no yield.
Yep.
It does nothing for you. It isn't like you're growing corn or something that you're going to get back. It's just a waste. And then you have all this space and you get nothing out of it.
It's basically,
then you have flowers that grow naturally, and you kill them, and that are actually really cool looking. And then you kill them and you go to Lowe's and buy more flowers and plant them next to your house. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I forget what I was saying.
Dang it. Sorry. I was on a roll there. I had to keep going. I had to push through.
Sorry. But what it makes me think of is, we went from England, where you had like 7 castles from the most rich people, And now everybody has their own little castle and have to hire all this staff to keep it running. And like no one even really notices, you know?
Yeah, because I know in a lot of the countries over there, a lot of the houses are just multi-family buildings or like apartments where they're kind of stacked up. And here, you go to suburbia and everybody has their own house, which is actually genius for the banks and the real estate companies because they're the ones that kind of invented that whole idea back after World War II. Yep. They invented suburbia,
and also too, it's like oh shoot, I was gonna say, but like there's just the property taxes alone that come in from all the houses in the United States. Yeah. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts. And I think what I was gonna say is I think the worst part, it's even worse than the houses, is you put up like me, I want to live in an apartment because I just don't want to mess with all that other crap. I don't have a family. I don't need that much room. But apartment complexes shouldn't cost almost as much as a house does. Yeah. And they kind of work in cahoots together to keep housing prices high by keeping the apartment complexes about the same. And so they're kind of pushing each other up, you know, when that we shouldn't be paying as much. They're making way more money on people in apartment complexes than if you rent out a house or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like the cost of housing. And it's like housing is one general term, but it's like a house versus an apartment are two very different things. And the cost to run a house is way more than an apartment.
And it used to be a lot cheaper, but now it's gotten to be where it's like, you know, you might as well buy a house and hope that you don't have hopefully it's a nice house that doesn't need a lot of repairs and you might be okay. I guess it just depends on where you live too.
I also, in the idea of this, just the thought of if you buy a house, take out a 30-year note, you're basically paying double for whatever the house sells at if you just stay with that. And then people that like when they refinance, they think they're super smart, but they actually reset the what do you call it? I can't think of the word.
I agree, Tommy, but I was in a bunch of small towns and they were all the same way. Even small little Netherlands, Germany, we went all through the back roads. So I understand what you're saying because it's pretty true, but yeah, they do. People go to Disney and Marceline.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's the table. The interest calculations. I can't. Somebody will put it on there. Somebody put it in the chat. If you can give it. What's the word I'm looking for? It starts with an M. Hold on. So if you refinance, it resets that, and I can't pull the word right now. You guys know what it is? I'm gonna have to look it up.
Drop my freaking phone. Calculation for interest on housing?
No, there's a word I can't pull. I can't think of the word.
Well, like I was telling you, that to-go coffee place up here, they brought it in on a crane now. They're like prefabricating even like coffee shops and trying to make it easier because I don't blame them. As expensive as it is to hire contractors to go do that, it's probably way cheaper to manufacture those out and just bring a crane in. Hey, Stephanie, thanks for swinging by. That's true, Dave.
No, that's not it, Tommy. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. What the heck? It's basically like all the line items that shows your payment every month with the interest, and it has all the details
of your insurance and all that
listed out, and it shows as the loan progresses, your interest goes down and your principal goes up. I can't think of that word, but everybody always thinks when they refinance that it's like they saved this money, but it actually, because you remember the
angle resets it all.
Yeah, it shows the angle chart where you pay more interest in the beginning and it goes down.
Yeah.
But when the bank refinances, it resets that back to the original amortization chart. Yeah, that's it. It resets that in a refinance. So if you, yeah, exactly. Sorry. I was thinking it started with an M. It's just like, I didn't have any Alpha Brain this morning, so insert commercial here.
I need to inject Alpha Brain, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, that's one of the things I find most fascinating about the house and all that stuff is the idea of getting the loan or buying the house and getting the loan is the whole thing. But then it's like you've been sold another bill of goods by refinancing it on a 30-year note. It starts you all over again. And it's like if you do that and then you sell the house in 5 years, you've just wasted so much money. But some people have to. You change jobs, move, get divorced, people die, or whatever.
I say it depends on situations. I remember I used to hate the you sell your house back to the bank and they let you live in it till you die. What is that loan? What do they call it?
Reverse mortgage?
Yes, reverse mortgage. I used to think how stupid, how that was terrible. It's terrible to people. And then I had a friend that was 80 years old, and she knew she's going to live for about another 4 or 5 years. She didn't have any family to give her house to, so she did a reverse mortgage so she could have money to go and enjoy the last 4 or 5 years of her life and still live in the same house she'd lived in for 30 years. I was like, I get it. I see why you would do it in that situation.
I wonder what happens if you. That's interesting. So I guess if you die in that situation, it just goes back to the bank or whatever.
Yep.
I feel like in that case, though, I'd almost rather just do another mortgage on the house or refinance the money back out and use that money to make the payments.
Right.
And then,
but she didn't know anything about anything, so it's easy for a bank to come in there and wow her with something.
Jen said, if you say it with an accent, it starts with an M. It's called an amortization schedule.
Amortization.
I totally know what I'm talking about. It's amortization. Used to take Alpha Brain, but felt weird being extremely turned on by exotic animals. Yeah.
What's up, Sonny? That Alpha Brain, I'll never forget one time I took it and it freaking took too much. Oh my God. I had one hell of a day. Puked like every 5 minutes. It was awful.
I don't know. I'm almost down to my last few Alpha Brains, and I used to take one every week before we do the show, and I haven't done one in the last month. Yeah. Probably should start doing it again.
I remember in 2008, whenever the mortgage crisis happened and all that, and they were trying to explain why, and they were trying to explain what you just said. It was one of the reasons why people got into worse places whenever they did need to have, the mortgage crisis happen. And they were saying that politics aside, I don't give a crap either side, but Joe Biden had refinanced his house 20 times or something over the years. And he said the reason was because he was getting extra money for his kids to go to college or something like that. And I was like, this is why everybody else thought the same idea. And they thought they were, creating money out of nothing, but they were really screwing themselves in the long run. I guess he didn't, because he's eventually going to make money, but I think a lot of people out there did that, especially if you live in a, really high cost of living place, I bet.
Tommy, you said they give 70% of the value. Are you talking about on a reverse mortgage? So they keep 30? Is that what you mean?
Mm.
That's interesting. God, that would talk about getting hosed on your house, man. If you had your house a majority of your life, it's almost paid off, and then they give you that. That'd be, man. Might as well just rent a baller apartment your whole life and just write that check every month.
I just, I think a lot of people are just so stuck into graduate high school, and then I have to do those 2 or 3 things, and then I'll be just like everybody else. And I have to do those things. And everybody gets and by the time they get to 35, they're like, what the hell did I do all those things for?
Yeah. I
got to college, got married, had this house, and now I'm in all these problems. I
got to get promoted and be this high up at my company. I got to get married, and I got to get a big house.
Yeah. Fighting over another $1 pay raise next year. Hopefully I get it. If not, maybe the next year. I'm glad I've always been don't want to work a regular job. I'm glad I've always been this way. My most regular job was bartending.
It's weird because there's certain people like you and like I got a buddy. He's another buddy that lives here in the building. He's never been married. It's just like, how did you know? Like,
Well, I wouldn't say it's all because I'm genius, but also, you know, I don't know. After a while, you start, the weight. Do I really want to? Like when I was a kid, I wanted to have a kid. When I was like 20, and then less I want to have a kid, more I want to just be myself, and it just starts. It just doesn't weigh out the same. Like I just don't. I don't know. It's not. I'm not what I strive for, and I guess since I don't strive to get married, I don't look to do it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I found a bunch of crazy women. That's for sure. Hey, Susanna. She's a great painter.
Good morning.
Oh, I know, honey. Fake happy. It's pretty much everybody on YouTube.
My daughter just walked in. She's having sugar donuts for breakfast. Don't you miss days when you could do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't know if I told you or not, but like I'm starting to notice that I'm going to bed earlier. I'm going to bed later and I'm getting up earlier. I can finally back to myself again.
Yeah.
It's almost been a year now. So yeah.
Don't say it. We'll get canceled.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the vaccine. I just said it. It's my bad.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
That's funny.
I forgot he was from Delaware.
Somebody should do a post about Biden trying to build a wall.
I think like right now, I just think politics are funny. When I watch it, they're all serious about it, but I just know it's just a big joke to me. And now they call the cages down there at the border, they call them Obama's cages, Biden's cages, because they were calling them Trump's cages whenever Trump was in office. But Obama actually built those, and Biden's actually probably built more. I don't know. That's my morning onion, but like there's no difference. But it's funny when one says they're the bad ones and we're not.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious.
It's funny. Tommy's the best part is the wall's done. He can call Trump and claim success. No president has ever successfully been able to build a wall. That's funny. Later, Kyle.
Later, Kyle.
I don't know, Tommy. Have you seen gas prices? They're pretty high right now.
You know what? If they really wanted to be fair, if they really wanted to have bipartisanship, they would make it where the president has to have a VP from the other side.
Wasn't it like that in the past?
I hope.
Because I feel like
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because wasn't it like the person who lost became the VP back in like the 1800s? Because
I think I might remember.
Because
that might be something.
When Abe Lincoln actually became president, the guy that was the VP, was it Jackson or Johnson? I can't remember who it was, but he was like his running mate or running against him. I think I might be wrong. I think that's what it was though, because
but wouldn't that help with, because the vice president is the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Mm-hmm. So
one of the issues was during Lincoln's presidency, though, he was actually working against him. Like he was like everything he was trying to do, he was coming in and like undercutting it and messing it up, because they were doing all that Reconstruction and everything right after the Civil War, and they had all they had established the public school system to teach African Americans how to read and all that kind of stuff, and he was just undercutting it, and it was like a disaster.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Tommy? Is that UPS? I didn't think they were,
UPS has a union.
I know, but I didn't think it, for some reason, I didn't think it was Teamsters. I guess it would be. I guess I never actually thought of that.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I like the protection of us as people, but I don't want to have to pay a union a bunch of the money and then we end up having go up in prices on everything. It's already bad enough, but I want workers to be protected too. So they should find an in-between balance between the two things.
Hey, I got to jump off here. So
All
now
right.
I got to go do something with my kiddo.
Oh, jealous. I get to go mow in the
Have
50
fun.
degree weather.
Y'all have a good day. Thanks for joining.
Later.
Later.